Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Again, this is currently on my YouTube channel, but what I'm going to do today, as you can see on my channel, if you've looked at all, again obviously I'm not a popular YouTuber by any means, but my channel is more of intellectual property and lecture material uploaded for that happens to be hosted on YouTube as opposed to me trying to make a YouTube channel. But if you look on my channel, I haven't made a video in a while, so I'll be giving you some updates. What I plan to do with my video, what I plan to go moving forward, what's been going on. And yeah, so I haven't done and made a video in a while, so might be a little rusty, but I just have a piece of paper here. If you've seen any of my other videos, I typically have a whiteboard behind me if I'm not doing a music video or something, but I don't really need a whiteboard anymore, and I'm in between physical locations of where I'm staying, so you just get my beautiful, wonderful face for today. But as from the title of this video, I'm sure you see where this is going. We'll get to that. But first, I just want to do a reintroduction to my channel. And like I said, what's been going on and why this isn't really a YouTube channel. So back in the May of 2016 through the proofs were completely done in December of 2016 and completely physically proven by February 2017, but I'm a mathematician and a physicist. I do research in a lot of different areas. I discovered a fundamental logical proof of where the engineering applications of the physics and mathematics that I've discovered has been classified. I've been approached by different international organizations that have approached me in person and discussed this stuff with me to a certain extent. So for the past basically 8.5 years, I've been deprived of my constitutional rights. Article 1, Section 8, Subsection 7 of the United States Constitution. I'm a United States citizen, live in the United States, but you get a constitutional right to your writings and discoveries. I'm not going to sit here and discuss the actual contents of the physics and mathematics because I already have in rigorous detail. I have a 40-plus page written thesis as well as hundreds of lecture videos, including my language litigation and integration series, as well as my From Rhythm to Algorithm series, in addition to literally well over into the hundreds of thousands of theorems that have been sent to people over email and sitting on people's desks. And so I'm deprived of my constitutional rights, I'm deprived of my humanitarian rights. There's something called the Declaration, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, basically saying these are the basic necessities any human being deserves to have rights and access to. Stuff like the ability to have the rights given to you by the Constitution of the country you live in, water, food, stuff like that. So since that time of late 2016, my constitutional rights have been violated. It has caused tremendous stress, both financially, personally. I don't want to say emotionally because I'm not really an emotional person, but just it has absolutely screwed up every aspect of my entire life. Every relationship, every business venture, every opportunity I've ever sought has been absolutely destroyed because of crime that has been going on my entire life, and to a point where here's a new math subject sitting on someone's desk for well over 8 years. And so the purpose with all of these videos is to resolve this ongoing criminal activity that has deprived me of my constitutional rights, my humanitarian rights, and my property that is required to live and to survive. And so that is what my channel originally has been. Again, you can go see the timestamps on all my videos. That is right, the timings will match up perfectly. So I have not made a video. So those are for people who have not been here or haven't seen a video in a while. Nothing has changed. As always, it takes people to change for something to change, and people don't change because once people get to where they're going in life, it gets just good enough, and then they turn around, they slam the door shut for the next guy, and then they say, look at me, me. So this is all fun stuff. So basically, I have to pay sales tax every single time that I go to the store. I have to pay property taxes because I own a house. We'll get to that. I'll give you an update on that. I think owning a house has been the absolute worst thing ever. But for my reintroduction and just letting people know that have never seen me or what's going on, or look at my channel and say, what is this guy talking about? Again, there's a ton of stuff going on behind the scenes. I have notarized offers of $250,000 and $500,000 to talk about this stuff publicly, whether that's on a well-known YouTube channel, whether that's on standard media on the news, whether that's a lecture or a presentation at a college or university anywhere in the world. Again, so this is notarized funds. Some people just think I'm whatever. I mean, people just have these emotional breakdown, identity crisis things, and then they just project their insecurities onto me and just treat me like a weirdo. I'm not a weirdo. I'm just a person that has been deprived of their rights, surrounded by people who can't count to 3 properly. And so this is what my channel is. And again, all of these things are made. Like, I'm not going to do a bunch of editing. I would do light editing, because if you look at my channel, again, I have poker videos. I have a bunch of movie and television reviews, more of just entertainment things, more of my hobby as opposed to my research or my work. I would do light editing on those things. But for like the lecture videos and for anything that I want to be informational or direct, I cut out all the editing whatsoever, so you can just hear me listen to the merits of what I'm saying. But this is going to be the quality of my videos for these types of topics. Like I said, it's been about 16 months since my last video. I wanted to make get to 1,000 videos just for an arbitrary metric that I wanted to accomplish, but basically sat on my ass and did nothing for the past year and a half. It wasn't really a break, like it's not like relaxing, because the entire time as I'm just sitting here, how do I get my constitutional rights? It is such a profound, personal, you feel so uncomfortable. It's just like a situation you just know is bad and you have to get out of, but in this context, there was nothing for me to do or for me to get away from these things, because anybody that could help me is already aware of this. So again, if you're watching this, I'm like, what is he talking about? Anybody in academia, high caliber law enforcement, intelligence agencies, they're all aware of it, they all know, but they won't do anything. Why? I'm not sure. But that's not really the point right now. But my point is, for that statement, is like I didn't relax. Like the past year and a half, I haven't been relaxing. I've just been bored out of my mind with this insatiable uncomfortableness around not having access and being treated like a human being. But am I going to continue to make videos? Because I've gone back and forth on this a bunch of times. Because I'm stuck between 2 places, right? I'm legitimately I'm the most prolific mathematician ever. And I'm prolific in producing creative content in basically anything I do. And so for my own personal thing, it's like I want to do it for me. I want to be as productive as I can. I want to, because all of these things are projects to me. It's not like my math paper, it's like my big lifetime achievement. Obviously, it's a profound and important results in mathematics. I mean, describing the form and proving the form of all equations, it's a pretty big target that nobody even saw coming. But it's not like, as on a personal level as a human being, it's not like something I would just sit there and like revel in and be like, look at that, I did that. It's like it's on to the next thing, on to the next thing. And it can be foundational physics, or it can be, drawing butterflies. There's no gradation in terms of difficulty or even of interest for a lot of different things for me. Like I'm equally as interested in mathematics, physics, linguistics, music as I am, again, like I said, building materials, how you construct things, how things handle under pressure, like actual engineering applications. So I'm interested in a bunch of things. And so it's the personal level of I want to be as productive as I can with my life, paired with I also genuinely I don't want to help other people. And you might think that's mean or rude or arrogant or not know where that statement or sentiment's coming from, but I don't want to give and produce and contribute to society in the level and the amount that I am, just to turn around and have people treat me like I'm a disposable piece of shit. And to say I've been treated like a disposable piece of shit is a profound and extensive understatement of how people have actually treated me. Go look at any point in history. Show me a point in time where we're a real, genuine intellectual, someone who really changes the paradigm or changes the mainstream acceptance of what is tradition, is what has occurred in history, big historical implications. Not a single person who has changed that sentiment hasn't received profound and tremendous resistance. Not a single point in history. But today, for whatever reason, you, the person watching this, or Johnny Joe, or whoever, somehow that behavior has no potential to be happening from other people in today's day and age, obviously. And obviously that isn't true. So as like I said, I don't want to contribute art and insight and knowledge and wisdom, quote unquote, to a society that cares about playing games and screaming really loud and sports. And sports, more sports and more sports and competing over nothing. And sports, money, sports, money, 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 sports. It is not a society that deserves respect. So I'll probably make videos, but I'll probably do something where it's like once I really, at least my research, get acknowledged for what it is, have it out there for some amount of times, 25, 50, 100 years, and then have it all returned and destroyed, truthfully. Because to me, these are all just summer projects. I don't care about any of these things any more than I care about a project I did in biology class in high school in sophomore year. I just don't care. But I do care is that people get a benefit from my hard work, from my insight, from my discoveries, while treating me lower than dirt on the fucking ground. But that's what I've been doing is literally sitting around doing nothing, which I say that ironically, because right now I'm a couple months away from turning 32, but I've spent, because people will say stuff like, I worked for 30 years in X industry. It's like, you didn't really work for 30 years, right? The actual time that elapsed. You went to the bathroom, you slept, you ate food, you hung out with your friends, you went with your spouse, you went on a hike, you did something. My point being is when I said I've worked every workable hour that I've had, meaning stuff outside of basic biological needs, hygiene, eating, sleeping, going to the bathroom, and like I said, I literally don't have any friends. I don't say that in a sad way. I say that as I don't have like external obligations. Like no one's gonna hit me up to go have a luncheon date where I have to plan around that. Like I just have the day in front of me is the day in front of me, and I have nothing in my way in that sense of like obligations to other people. And so, especially when you're in your early 20s, that has a lot of impact in your life, way more so than in your 30s or beyond. But point being is I just had nobody, I was sheerly focused on creating a financial opportunity. Not being a YouTuber, not being a successful financial trader, not being a successful inventor with my alcohol, not being a successful restaurateur, or whatever they call it, for the restaurant that I owned. Not for being a singer, being a music teacher, not for being a movie critic, a TV writer, not for any of those things. Just the general concept of commit an action, generate a skill set, do something that has some sort of value that I can make money. Create a financial opportunity for myself. And then I say that in the most practical, diligent, and disciplined way. What steps do I take to get to where I want to go? And for me, where do I want to go? Literally just enough to pay my bills, and past that, I don't give a fuck about money. And I mean that so genuinely. Meaning if I could put my bills on auto pay, live in a 500 square foot cabin in the woods, and just literally not have to worry about bills, I could have a campfire, I could go, do light hikes in the woods, I'd be extremely happy. I mean, I've earned a bunch of things. I would like just compensation for what I've earned, for what I've produced, but in terms of personal happiness, what I need to feel happy, to feel safe, to feel like I can keep going, again, and then enough expendable income to pursue my projects, right? And so that could all be accomplished on a $65,000 salary, literally. So it's like I said, for me, the amount of money, and then past that, it's just I want to be paid for what I've produced, what I've earned, but in terms of personal satisfaction, getting to where I want to go, I'd be completely placid, completely blissful, completely at peace, just knowing that I can pay my bills comfortably and indefinitely into the future for something that I've rightfully earned. So I forget where I started with on that point, but like I said, I've not been resting. I've just been uncomfortable just not making videos. But what I was going to get to is like I've tried, like I said, all of my workable hours, I've tried everything. Starting my own business, running my own things, and all of these different avenues, applying to regular jobs. When you do these different projects, you generate different skills, and I have all of these videos demonstrating these skills. So I said, okay, I don't need that much money to, like I said, I'll get to my house because I'm not going to list that, but when I have a house paid off, I don't need a ton of money, and by a ton of money, I mean like I can live comfortably on like $2,500 a month. Maybe not comfortably, but like anything past like let's say $3,200 to $3,500 a month would be completely comfortable for me. So it's like we're talking not a lot of money. Substantially below sub 50K would put me into that zone of just being able to focus on my creative output. But am I going to continue to do these things? Like I said, for music, for future of my music, I mean, I've basically sworn off that, but I mean, like we all play the same chord progressions. There are only so many scales, and so it's like there's just not much creative things for me there right now. I haven't touched a musical instrument in the 16 months, whenever the last video I posted on here was. But I don't know, maybe that will come back, maybe it won't. Business, I really want to get into, again, since the time I've been making these videos, since you guys have been interacting with me. Financial trading, develop if I want to, invent or produce or develop intellectual property, license that property to a company, have no overhead, no business, just get what they call mailbox money, or just get royalties on a patent, and then use that to trade financial instruments, because the financial markets are the biggest, like the forex spot trading of currencies, commodities, and stock equities of different countries, of different companies in different countries, is the largest financial arena there is. And so that was really what I want to be doing. Again, wake up, exercise, eat a nice meal. I mean, I've been exercising super light. I've basically done no exercise for the past 2.5 years. Getting back into it as much as my back, again, that's still there. My back is still destroyed. And we'll get to obviously you see the title of the video as liver failure, so we'll get to that. But my mobility's been pretty down, bounced back pretty well, and just trying to get back into some sort of exercise. But again, my ideal day, wake up, have some sort of exercise, one good meal, check out the financial markets, maybe place a trade on the open. Throughout the day, maybe make a video or two, make that video, edit that video, produce it or whatever, get it ready to, go out online, eat another meal, eat dinner, and then, I wish I had a significant other, but I don't. But then, again, like I'm always doing my derivations, the linguistical derivation, that's always going on, but then in the end of the day, nighttime's when typically that happens the most. So that's what I would want to be doing, and again, on a nice country estate or just a cabin in the woods away from people, with my bills paid and able just to pursue my creative endeavors. But poker, I probably won't make anything. Again, if I actually get to play like real stakes or whatnot, I'd do that. I would make more poker videos. Reviewing cinema, I would do that. Again, I would do light edits on that, so probably do more of those if I ever get to upgrade my budget a little bit. But like I said, my research, my fundamental research, my mathematics, linguistics, and physics, I mean, that's happening all the time. It's empirical realization, and it happens all of the time. It never stops. And so that's what's going on there. Oh yeah, but to go full circle, again, the very first videos I made were in my apartment in Philadelphia. The next ones were at my parents' house. Again, all of this is when I have financial ties to my parents. And so the amount of Bitcoin that I had to sell down throughout the time that I had to move out because I fed the dog a scoop of dog food, Bitcoin appreciating to, again, right around $120,000 a coin this year, or right now as I make this video. That would have put on an additional $2.8 million to my legal stack of what I cashed out. So I missed out on I made about $700,000 as opposed to $3.5 million. So I'm really stoked there. Again, that's just I'm forced to do what other people think is right, even though I know it's wrong, and then I just have no way to actually practically accomplish what I know is right, because people have authority and we live in social structures, and I have parents and there's cops and there's people that have authority over you, is my point. And then I'm supposed to do this, and no one respects me as a professional adult. And yep, I told you on record on this channel, hey, I cannot see the Bitcoin price is decoupled from the halving cycles, but I cannot see any way that this thing does not have substantial increase in spot price based on the fundamentals of what it's doing over the long term. And sure enough, that's what it's doing. So cool, I'm glad I missed that on $2.8 million, which would easily allow me to accomplish the goals I just set up. But let me make sure my camera's still running. So we've already discussed, like I said, I've already touched on how the bar and restaurant went out of business, so we don't need to touch on that. But again, having to sell down the Bitcoin because of people don't respect my reputation. Like people say, people have slandered my name and defamed my character and ruined my professional credentials. If somebody was saying, hey, there's that guy that contributed more mathematics than literally everybody else in mathematics combined, here's of all his other derivation, which is fundamental logic. It's proven. This is a proof. I've extended what proofing applies to with proof. And yeah, he's also knows stuff about financial markets because that's what it is. It's really just assessment of human behavior or behavior in general with regards to supply and demand of commodity. That's what it is and how you represent that as currency. And so let's not respect this guy. Let's respect Johnny. He went to Ohio State University, one of the top schools in the area, and he got a 4.0, and he got his MBA from Fisher School of Business. Oh wow, cool beans. So what do I buy and sell, Johnny? Should have bought your Bitcoins. Go harvest your Bitcoins, Johnny. It's a little late. But that's fun. So like I said, I did list my house on the market. I've owned my house now in full, for the people wondering, not like I'm struggling to pay a mortgage. But you never own anything. You never actually own a home. If you buy a house, now you have property taxes and insurance. And plus maintenance literally is not that much different than renting. And so this isn't going to be an economics of go into renting or buying. I mean, completely case dependent. But I hate owning a house. Absolutely hate it. And one, I don't even consider it owning. I mean, my property insurance or property tax is like $6,000 a year. So like $550 to $600 a month. And then insurance, another, $150. And then maintenance on whatever's breaking this week. So you can rent a room or a 1-bedroom or studio apartment for, and I haven't looked at those prices in a while, but I'll say $1,200. Or you can pay $850 to do everything with maintenance and upkeep yourself. Fun stuff. But I actually honestly hate owning a house. I hate living next to a neighbor that threatens to kill me. I hate my stupid homeowners association, who it's like the kids from high school who never grew up, which again turns out to be everybody. But now they just moved on from being the school council president to being the homeowners association president. Wee-hoo! And so that's fun. But overall, and I sit on the same couch and I sleep. There's sometimes when I'm at my house. Right now I'm at my parents' house. So that was the full circle thing, is fed the dog a scoop of food, missed out on $2.8 million of financial gains just to be back at the same exact place I started. Man, running in circles is fun. But at this point, I honestly don't care. It's not that it's not super fucked up. It's just, I just done caring. But what was I saying? What was I saying? Oh, owning out. So I sit on the same couch. I sleep in the same bed. Sometimes I don't even get into my bed at my house. I literally just roll over on the couch and don't look at the TV. And so my house is, 2,300 square foot. So 4-bedroom, 3-bath, nothing fancy. But I don't need the space whatsoever, and I just sit there. So it's like, one, I either just need to downsize. 2, I honestly don't want to own a house at all. I'd rather live in like an RV where I can just tool around and go to different, national parks and just enjoy nature to the extent I can with my back and health. But house is going on the market. But like I said, I bought it for $349. I don't know. Try to hopefully get this. Try to see what we can get out of it, but it'll be live within the next week or so. So that's fun. And the American dream is to own a home. Even when you own a home, you literally can't afford to live in the home. Yes. But I actually, in general, forgetting the money, I just hate owning a house or a space I don't need. So now the fun stuff, liver failure, as you can see in the top of the video. So as I've been in no way ashamed to discuss or tell you, I am definitely what would be considered a heavy drinker, or was. Again, I've given it up now since my great liver failure. But again, my motivations for drinking is I didn't drink regularly until, well after I solved all of science. So it's like you see people win a basketball championship and they go pop champagne and go party. And it's like I kind of want to be excited that I, resolved all the fundamental paradoxes, quote unquote, in physics, reworked all the fundamental physics, established the complete foundations for mathematics, produced hundreds of thousands of theorems. Like, I kind of want to be excited. But really, what I always say was beer is for boredom. So I was always a beer drinker. Again, probably pretty regular. I mean, like 5 to 7 days a week after, probably around 25. Probably a year or two after I solved all the science stuff and got the major proofing done. And it was just like, well, literally, what do you do now? So what people don't understand is I have what's called synesthesia. And so it's kind of hard to describe, but like all of your senses, there's just information input. Like, right, like with somebody that's on the autism spectrum, or somebody where they get overloaded by sensational input or vibrational input, but they get overwhelmed by signals. For me, it's the opposite. I get extremely bored, and in boredom for anybody is, right, I've literally had a quote, death is, or boredom is a fate worse than death. And for me, the boredom becomes physical symptoms. And so it's just, when I'm physically alone, remember when I'm at my house, I'm completely physically alone. And now added with the added stress of the finances. If the finances were in stock, again, I could be completely alone for the rest of my life, happy as a clam, no problems whatsoever. But when I'm physically alone and financially stressed to that level, not being around other people physically really reduces my ability to eat, really reduces my ability to sleep, and really amplifies in the same way your hair will stand up on the back of your neck if you feel like you're in the woods and a bear is watching you, and you're like, oh shit, like this could get really bad really quick. It's that level of urgency gets put onto me all of the time because of this synesthesia stuff. And it's not, and if you're watching this, it's not like a physical thing, it's just a way you process information. And so that's what's going on there. But so I'm at my parents' house, big circle back to here, missing out on the 2.8 million, listing the house. I'll see what I can get for it. But I don't know what I'm going to do going forward. I don't know what to do. There's nothing there's nothing that you can do that's practical and reasonable that I haven't done 100 times over, literally. What's going on, you watching one video as opposed to what has gone on behind the scenes is tremendously, tremendously different. But again, so the liver fails. Oh, so the back to the drinking, and so you just get really, really bored, and then the synesthesia puts this stress level. But like when I'm around other people physically, even if I had a rocky relationship, like I've documented well that I've had a great relationship with my parents at different times, and I've discussed that without any hesitation or sugarcoating. What was I gonna say? What was I gonna say? Oh, but like literally physically being around people, that brings down the stress of the synesthesia, even if it has been a rocky relationship at points. And so being literally just sitting at my parents' house is more enjoyable than sitting at my house alone, because when I'm at my house I'm alone and I get under the stress, it's like, okay, I'm an animal in the woods, survive. Your fight or flight response for me is constantly activated. So I just work. All I do is work, and then it just makes it so stressful. And again, I've never one time in my life drank because of stress. It's because of boredom, or to simply do something. Right? If you're just sitting there all day, and again, when you have synesthesia to the level I have, the amount of information that I can synthesize and process is tremendous, and it's immediate. And so like when I say like I could go learn the semantics of another language, I already do my derivations in linguistics every day, which is way more poignant to me than literally learning to have a conversation in some language X, Y, or Z. Reading a nonfiction book, right? People will say, well, go read a book, and they don't, and a lot of times it might even be genuine, but whoever's watching this, would you go read, there's nonfiction books for 3-year-olds out there. Human beings that are just toddlers, babies, learning to read. And there's nonfiction ones. Would you, the viewer of this video, go read one of those books? And you probably just said no. And why would you not read a child's book that is nonfiction? Well, because it doesn't do anything for you. Some people say go read a book. Like if I go read Neil deGrasse Tyson's book about physics, or Sean Carroll's book about physics, it does nothing for me. If I go read Albert Einstein's paper, it does nothing for me. If I go read any book or any story, I feel the individual that wrote that through the synesthesia stuff. I feel them in the same way when you shake somebody's hand, you feel them. When you read somebody's word, you feel them. And then when you've accomplished something, or when you've developed an insight, an intuition, a skill set that's more developed than somebody else, and some people are taller, some people are better at baseball, some people are better at slot car derby, whatever it is. What was I saying? I forget what I was saying on that one, but it just puts the synesthesia puts all of the information, and you just feel the depth of everything and everybody all at the same time. And so that is about that for. Oh, again, sorry, a lot of tangents, but then back to the drinking. So it's always the motivation was always for boredom. Never one time have I woke up. Well, I don't want to say never been hungover, but through drinking regularly for, we'll say 5 to 7 days a week for 6-ish years. Again, maybe woke up hungover 2 or 3 times, because it's never like drink to pass out, drink to run from a problem, drink to do anything besides literally I'm just bored. Like, it's never like wake up and just start drinking. It's never like. Simply my point being is that I don't care if somebody calls me an alcoholic. I don't care what word you label me. I don't care what anybody calls me, anything. I'm just trying to document the actual truth as to what has occurred. And so I would probably sip, I don't know, in the 24 and a half, 25 and a half, whenever I started, to, the first couple years it was probably, 4 to 7 beers. And then probably for the, the last 4-ish years, probably about, I honestly think probably about average, about 10. It could go up to 15 on some day. It could be as low as 5 on another day. It really just depends on what I'm doing. Again, this is always after any chores or errands, or I solo upkeep a house and run all of this stuff. And so it's not like I'm not doing anything. I'm not neglecting any life need. I'm not running out of money in that sense. Again, I live in poverty. I live on poverty level income. I'm not necessarily broke, but that's money I don't touch. And it genuinely doesn't give me any sense of financial stability whatsoever, because I don't have constitutional rights. You give somebody a little bit of money and take away the constitutional rights. The taking away the rights part is so much bigger than a little bit of money. Because if I have rights, I can go create money. I can go create value. I can go do something to better my life. Where if you just get a little bit of money and then you're completely shut out of society, that money will go away and you're still shut out of society. And so that's probably 5 to 7 days a week, probably about an average of 10 over that span of 6-ish years. Some days more, some days less, totally dependent on what's going on in my day, which is typically nothing, but typically, start literally casually sipping beers around 2 p.m., 3 p.m., finish up around dinner before I go to bed. And this is with water, with food. Like I said, the way I always say is I don't count my beers, I count my money. But again, I don't give a fucking shit what anyone thinks of me. I'm literally just documenting facts for the record. Because I did say in this series, or not in this series, this is just titled Liver Failure. But I said if anything happens, it is because of boredom. It is because you guys are not allowing me to socialize in the sense of having a job, having a career, going out into the world and doing things, all because of money and acknowledgement of my work. Facts. It's just a statement of fact. It is a historical fact. And so those are my drinking patterns and motivations. And again, not that it really matters, because a certain amount of alcohol is a certain amount of alcohol, or a certain amount of substance X, Y, or Z is that amount of substance X, Y, or Z. But it was always like, for me, drinking, it was like I'd probably sip maximum maybe 2 to 3 beers in an hour. So it's not like I'm waiting till the end of the day and then I'm like blacking out. Like I've never blacked out. Like I've never not remembered something because of alcohol. Literally never. But the motivation was literally just genuine boredom, sitting around waiting for something to happen in my life. And then one day, what happens? I wake up and I'm pretty freaking yellow. And so I started jaundicing. And then like a day after that, I got this like swelling in my ankles. Go on to the good old Google doctoring, and it's like, jaundice and swelling of the ankles was like, there's typically, I think, 4 stages of liver disease. You have a healthy liver, then you have, I think they diagnose pre-fatty liver, I don't know, but fatty liver just when your liver starts absorbing more fat and storing it in the organ. And then you get, I think it's called compensated liver disease, where it's a subsection of cirrhosis. Cirrhosis being when the liver regenerates itself. Its cell has DNA, it uses that DNA to produce another cell. When that cell's DNA gets damaged enough, well, it's going to produce a damaged cell. Once that damage is proliferated and regenerated enough, well, now their spongy liver is now more of a rock, or getting to be a rock, impairing its vital functions to filter the blood and do all the other vital functions it does. And so compensated liver cirrhosis for liver disease means you can stop from what I've seen, it says the liver can still function. It might not need a transplant, but you can't reverse cirrhosis. And what was the other facet? But it's still like you can halt the progression of the damage. And then stage 4 being the decompensated cirrhosis, where the vital functionality of the organ is completely destroyed and it can't function whatsoever. End stage meaning you're either going to die or die like imminently, pretty quickly, within weeks or a month or so, or receive a transplant. And so those are kind of just a quick breakdown of the stages or whatnot. But so I get jaundiced, I get swelling, and it's like, oh, that's stage 4, decompensated liver cirrhosis. I'm like, sweet, that's awesome. but for real. So I go to the hospital. I'm there, but it was weird. Because I go in there and it's like, because I'm always a very practical person. So like, how much do you drink? I'm like, this is how much I drink. And again, once I saw any symptoms, because there was no symptoms leading up to that whatsoever, just like nothing, literally nothing. And so I never felt like I was abusing my body. Once I saw any once I was symptomatic to any extent whatsoever, immediately stopped. Haven't had a drink since. It's not been difficult whatsoever. It's just boring. It is just boring. But at the same time, I don't care, because when I say, I've reached enlightenment, quote unquote, but when you have this fundamental understanding of the world around you, I'm always doing science. I'm always doing stuff in my head, but I just want it to proliferate into something where I get to interact with it in society. Give a lecture, give a presentation, something like that. Or not get noticed at all publicly and just have someone give me enough money to take care of my bills. That is really the only thing that I actually genuinely care about. But those are the patterns and motivations at the hospital. But so it's like, because of the symptoms, like, it's clear cause and effect as to what's going on here. And so I'm here at the hospital trying to figure out what is the extent of the damage to the liver. Clearly there's something here because of the symptoms, but then they treated me for like alcohol withdrawal. And again, if I drink those 10 beers, it's over like 10 to 12 hours with a full meal and water. So again, I'm in no way caring. You can call me an alcoholic, you can call me any words you want. I don't care whatsoever. But it's not like there's there's a peak or something where it's like I'm just like chugging, or like there's no like extreme highs and extreme lows. It's just like kind of chill. But they're treating me like I'm going to go through some bad withdrawal. And I'm like, I know you guys are the doctors, but again, I'm kind of a scientist too myself, and I know how to be a little logical. And it's like, doesn't make any sense that I'd be withdrawing. But my point is, through this, I was at the hospital for maybe, 4 days ish. They didn't really address the liver things. Like they drew blood and did the lab samples of the different antigens or what other proteins are in the bloodstream and whatnot. But they didn't give me like an assessment or like a follow-through plan for doing anything for the liver. Now, if you do have, or if I do, or if anybody has liver cirrhosis, I mean, that's incurable. You can't really reverse the damage as of yet or with current technology. But it was just insane to me to go through there and then because you can just see it in their eyes, from the doctors to the nurse practitioners, and it's just like, I can just say, I literally say, it's like, well, I'm not going through withdrawal. And you can just literally see in their eyes, it's like, oh yeah, here's an alcoholic that's just not going through withdrawal because he's going through withdrawal. And he's probably stealing money out of his mom's purse to go buy more booze. And it's just like, no, I'm saying I'm not withdrawing because I'm not withdrawing. It's like, there's a feeling you have, right? Like if you're just a normal person, and because of synesthesia, like I have an extreme awareness of my body. But anybody has an awareness of their body. And so it's like, there's even a quote in The Big Bang Theory, American TV show, if anybody's seen it, a lot of Americans have, I'm sure, or heard of it. But Penny, the Kaylee Cuoco girl, she literally has a line in there, and she's like, I always have a superpower, and that's how to know to drink just enough at frat parties, but not drink enough to get hungover the next day. Which is literally true. You have an awareness of when that one more drink or whatever is going to push you over the edge to have a hangover. And so there was never at any point in my drinking where it was ever like, there's a peak where it's like, I feel like I've gone too far, I'm going to feel fucked up the next day or whatever. Again, not the amount of alcohol your liver's processing is the amount of alcohol it's processing. Not debating that. I'm at the hospital, clearly there's damage here based off of my symptoms, but I want to know what is the progression of the damage, and is there anything to do moving forward. And the only thing the hospital does is monitor me basically for alcohol withdrawal, which I just thought was insane. Because guess what? Guess who's still unemployed, uninsured? This guy. So now I just get to sit here and wait for that nice hospital bill. That's gonna be fun. I'm guessing we're gonna sniff $100,000, if not go over that. I'm going over under on $100,000 on my hospital bill. I'm going over. So that's gonna be fun. But yeah, like I said, I haven't had any access to healthcare since I've been 26. And again, just the way that I've been raised in the community I've been raised in, the only thing I've ever really learned is that the only thing that matters is money, and money, and don't spend money. And so when I'm not a person to avoid going to the doctor because I'm afraid of needles or I'm afraid of doctors or I'm nervous about white coats. It's because of money. Just this being insecure about money, especially even when you don't need to be. Just to be so protective and not spend a single dime and pinch and save every single place is the only thing that's been pummeled into me my whole life. But the biggest thing is because again, I put all these pieces together. I'm owed the math solutions and research I've done and the reputational damage that has been done by not acknowledging what I've done has cost me a ton of money. If I have money, I can easily pay for private insurance at any point in time. Now, from 26 to this happened, a month ago. Today is July 11th, I think. But then you'll go, wait a second. Well, if I've been paid my money, and again, not even published, which is my constitutional right, just giving me some sort of money so I can take care of my health, which is all I've been begging for years now, well, then I could have gone to regular checkups. Because like I said, I'm not actually addicted to alcohol. So if I go into a checkup and get regular blood work once or twice a year, just a normal routine, and then let's say I do have cirrhosis, because I'm in the process of meeting with specialists and following up to see what the actual progression of the liver is, the damage to the liver is right now, my liver. So I'll see about that, what happens with that. But my point, the biggest frustration out of all, not frustration, just insanity to me, is all of these people know what I've done. All of these people know how much money that is owed to me. I literally ask for it every single day. But if I would have had the money that I've had access to, or had access to the money that I've earned, I could have afford to pay for private insurance or just pay for the checkups and blood work. And so the first time I go in there, if I go in there at 26 and I've been drinking for at that time, a year and a half pretty consistently, and the doctor goes, "Hey man, your liver enzymes are a little elevated. You drink. You tell him what you drink. He's like, "Hey man, maybe you should cut back," because the fatty liver is completely reversible. I would suspect that liver cirrhosis will be reversible to some extent through stem cell treatments in the future. Again, I don't think they're here right now, but stem cells would help to some extent, I believe. Again, I'm not even speaking for me. Like, I could die tomorrow. I mean, when you're this objectively scientific, there's not much of thinking about me personally in all of this. But the fatty liver can be reversed. So if I go into and just on a regular checkup and he's like, hey man, it's a little elevated, bam, just take 6 months off, a year off, whatever. And then your liver gets back to less inflamed, normal size, normal density, normal output for the different enzymes, blah, 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 you're good to go. And so if this does turn out to be serious cirrhosis, and overall, to be honest, I feel fine. Again, besides this, the swelling of the ankles and the jaundice, which the jaundice has gone away pretty much 100%. The swelling's gone away pretty much, I'd say 95%. My back is still absolutely screwed. That's completely independent of the organ concerns. But overall, do I have access to health care? No. But that includes like access to healthcare. It includes the cannabis and hemp stuff, full spectrum cannabis and hemp access. It also extends to psychedelic therapies when they're treating, PTSD with mushrooms or LSD or MDMA or whatever. I mean, these are all things that demonstrably empirically work. And so then I was hospitalized for about 4 days. I stayed again the Mount Carmel. They put me under anesthesia without consent, like literally. Like there was literally just a point in time where I just woke up in the hospital bed and I was like, what? And they had put me under anesthesia. They had cut my clothes off and put me in a hospital gown, and I was just like, it was weird. I had a strange experience there. But I can't say anything definitive without evidence. And so that's pretty much it for the liver stuff. But again, it does say on the health portal liver failure. And again, the jaundice and the edema, I think is what it was called, the ankle swelling. So it was pretty much only symptomatic for the decompensated cirrhosis. But again, I have no fatigue. I have no appetite. If anything, my appetite's gotten way better, again, because I'm physically around other people. But no tenderness to my liver area, nothing else. So that's just the anxiety of, am I dying from liver failure? But legitimately, like I said, I'm not just being goofy or joking or making a joke. I literally don't care. I mean, this isn't life to me. This isn't living. This isn't fun. I just sit here and wait for the next day to come, hope something changes, and it never does. And how many people will just sit around, watch it happen, and genuinely not care? So that's really it for me today. Again, I just wanted to give people an update. Not that anyone's watching or following along, but again, this is literally me just documenting the crimes that are being committed against me. But so the point of, will I continue to make videos? I probably will. Because like I said, I'm more so, again, stagnated by the money. I'd like to put some production value into these things. The actual lectures I don't mind or care just to do a talking thing, because that's the most poignant for these type of videos. But for like the poker, the cinema, the movie and TV show reviews, for the music lessons, language lessons, all of those things, I would like to have the ability just for some basic editing, so to help facilitate the purpose of the video. But again, the statutes pursuant to the law of the United States that is still going on. Again, seeing as quote unquote a citizen of the United States, and I say I'm not simply because, well, one, I hate this country, but more importantly is United States citizens have constitutional rights. I don't have constitutional rights, so therefore I'm not a United States citizen, based on your choices, not mine. But again, Article 1, Section 8, Subsection 7 guarantees writers and inventors their exclusivity for their writings and discoveries for a limited time through Congress. That has been denied to me in disgusting fashion. The Fifth Amendment, in addition, people always say the Fifth Amendment for right against self-incrimination, typically almost exclusively in a jury proceeding, but it also guarantees you the right for just compensation, payment for private property, my discoveries, used for public use, Since 2017, when Eric Weinstein pops up on bigthink.com, it has been demonstrably and proven that my information, my proofing, my intellectual property, my property has been distributed amongst a ton of people, and I have been paid nothing, in addition to having severe, genuine health, life-altering health events. That's going to look good in history. And then there's also the Eighth Amendment, I believe, is the right against cruel and unusual punishment. I mean, this is brutal punishment. I am genuinely seeking humanitarian asylum. I am actively and have been actively seeking for years the ability to leave this country, the United States of America. It has taken away my life. It has taken away my relationships. It has taken away my ability to function. It has destroyed my property. It has destroyed everything I've ever worked for. I hate it here. Let me leave. I've earned it. Please. And finally, there's a Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which is just for any civilized country, which is supposed to apply to all human beings, of basic steps of what a human being has the right to within their country and in general, and pretty much the entire document is violated. So if you want to go read that, you can. But at the current time, and I'm in between physical locations for living right now, but where the property that I own, the chief of police is currently for Franklin County in Columbus, Ohio, is James Gilbert. The chief of police for the city of Columbus in Ohio is Elaine Bryant. The mayor of Columbus, Ohio is Andrew Ginther. The governor of Columbus, Ohio is Michael DeWine, and as everyone knows, the great leader of the United States is Donald Trump. So those are the direct contacts and people that have substantial ongoing legal obligation to do something to resolve these crimes that continue to be committed. And now that I'm under substantial health risks or health damages, it's already too late. I mean, it's been too late for years, but at this point, I'm literally just begging for the ability to take care of my own health, which very likely is probably destroyed anyway. But I simply wanted to live out my days. I wanted to be a math teacher. I wanted to pursue all of these different intellectual pursuits I have. And just to let you guys know that you have destroyed my output potential, and the things I've already produced is a fraction of what I could do if I had either just a little bit of funding, let alone the funding that I've rightfully earned, as well as public recognition. So congratulations, you guys continue to snuff out creativity in genuine historical events, like at every point in human history prior. So thanks for watching. I'll be back whenever I decide to make another video. I don't have an upload schedule. I don't know what the content's going to be. I'm just going to do whatever I feel like doing for as long as I have left. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one if there is one.